All right, Algebra 1, let's finish off week 13 strong. This is the last week before spring break. Woohoo! Get a week off. And then back to more digital classes. Yay! Okay, 11.2 is also pretty easy. It's a little more tough than 11.1, but it's still pretty easy. This one's a little trickier though. All right, you actually have to do a little bit of like thinking on this one. It's all PEMDAS. All right. So the trick with this is all we're doing is using those equations we had before, plugging numbers in, and seeing what we get. So it's all about the T-chart, okay? That table. I don't know if you can hear my wife and son, but they're freaking out because they're watching some pest control show in the other room. But hey, quarantine, right? Okay. So we're going to do the first equation. The first equation is y equals negative x squared. All right, y equals negative x squared. So I'm going to make my little chart. It's not really a t-chart because we have x, and then I usually make a column, just like they do, to work out everything. If you want to do an extra column to see what you get after you've plugged it in, for this one we don't really need it, but for the more complicated ones that have like a b and a c in them, it might be useful. Okay, so we got negative x squared, and then we have our y, okay? These are the two numbers we want. We want x and y. That gives us our point that we're then going to graph on the graph. Okay, so right here, I'm going to plug in what numbers I pick, and they always tell you. So in this section, they're asking you to use 2, 1. So I'm going to put 2, 1, 0, 1, 2. Actually, this is negative 1, negative 2. Okay, we want to use all those numbers. Never mind. Well, whatever. We start with negative 2. Actually, we're going to start down here at the easy ones. Then we'll go back. But I like them in this way because it's when I'm graphing it, it's ordered from left to right, so it makes it a little easier to graph. Okay. So what I'm doing in this column, honestly, you can get ahead and write out this, but with a parentheses wherever the x is. So watch, I'm going to say negative parentheses squared. Negative parentheses squared. Negative parentheses squared. Negative parentheses squared, negative parentheses squared. Okay, I just left a bunch of gaps because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this number and fill it in the parentheses. 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2. Right? And you can start from the top, work your way down. You can start anywhere. I'm going to start at the 0 because that's the easiest one. Right? So 0 squared is going to just be 0, right? Okay. 1 squared is 1, but this negative sign is on the outside. So I'm going to say 1 squared is 1, but then we have a negative, so it's going to be negative 1. Okay? 2 squared is 4, but then we have the negative, so it's negative 4. Okay, now I'm going to start back up here at this negative 1. Negative 1 squared, which is the same thing as negative 1 times negative 1, which is positive 1. So we have positive 1, but wait, there's a negative outside, so negative 1. Negative 2 squared, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. And then, so we have positive 4, but there's a negative out here, negative 4. All right, so now I'm going to graph this. So my first point, well, I'm going to start over here because this is how I like to graph it. So my x is negative 2, my y is 4, or negative 4. So I'm going to say 1, 2, there's negative 2, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. So my first point is right there at negative 2, negative 4. My next point is negative 1, negative 1. Negative 1, negative 1. Third is 0, 0, 0, 0. And it's going to turn around, negative 1, negative 1, and again. Positive 1, negative 1. Positive 1, negative 1. Okay? Then it's going to be positive 2, negative 4. Positive 2, negative 4. And then you connect all the dots. That's your parabola. So one of the things to note about parabolas is they have this spot right down the middle where you could take it and fold it over, and it would match up. Okay? It's basically where it would crease if you were trying to match it up. It's called a line of symmetry. It's kind of neat. But so the kind of cheaty thing is if you know where the center is, these points are in the exact same spot. So if they're not in the exact same spot, you did something wrong. So check your math. If you get something that does not make this U shape, you did something wrong. Okay, let's go to the next one, which is a little more complicated. All right, we've got y equals x squared plus 4x plus 1. That's a lot, right? It's a lot more than the other one. So on this guy, I'm actually going to suggest doing 4 columns. 1 column for x, 1 column where you have all your empty parentheses, 1 column where you have just numbers, which I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to make my columns. I'm going to have my x column. I'm going to have my x squared plus 4x. Let's make sure that shows up as a plus 1. Okay, and then I don't really know what to title this one. It's the same thing, but we're just going to leave a gap. And then we're going to have y. And again, this will make more sense once I start working. I jinxed myself. I just started this one. I was saying, hey, that's only one time it's crashed, and then it crashed right away. It's okay. It's okay. So anyways, I've got this all set up. Okay. This example suggests we use these points. So those are the points I'm going to use. The reason I'm using these is probably because the vertex, which is the part where the graph turns, is probably in these numbers. And we'll see that when we graph it. And so that's the issue with these is sometimes your x's that you pick are a little tricky, but just use what they give you and it'll work out. Okay, so now we start this out just like we did before. First thing is I'm going to write this out, but wherever there's an x, I'm going to leave an empty parentheses. So I'm going to say parentheses squared plus 4 parentheses plus 1. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in this number in every empty parentheses. 1 and 1. All right, here we go. Now you get to see why I have this empty section. So the reason we have this empty section is to work this out. And this one's pretty easy, and so, which is why it shouldn't matter, but down here, you're going to want that section. All right, so first thing, what is 1 squared? Well, it's just 1. What is 4 times 1? That's 4. And then we have this plus 1. What's 1 plus 4 plus 1? 6. That's it. Okay, then you move on to the next row. All right, I'm going to kind of write out my equations just to save myself some time. So I'm going to say parentheses squared plus 4 parentheses plus 1. Right? Parentheses squared plus 4 parentheses plus 1. 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 Oof, this is going to be a long problem. All right, luckily this one's going to be easy because I have a 0 and a 0. What is 0 squared? 0. What's 4 times 0? 0 plus 1. So, 1. On to this guy. Let's switch colors. We'll just alternate. Okay. Negative 1, so I'm going to put a negative 1 in the parentheses. 4 minus 1. Okay, here's where things start to get a little tricky because we have these negatives in here. And that's where this section really helps you out. Just work on one thing at a time. So negative 1 squared is going to be positive 1. 4 times negative 1, minus 4. Positive 1 plus 1. Okay? We have 1 minus 4 is going to give me negative 3. Negative 3 plus 1 is going to give me negative 2. Okay? The other way to think of it is I have a 1 and a 1, which is 2, minus 4 and a positive 2, negative 2. Okay, on to the negative 2. Negative 2, going to fill that in, negative 2, negative 2. Negative 2 squared is going to be positive 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And we have plus 1. Okay, I'm going to add my positives together first. So 4 plus 1 is 5. Positive 5 and a negative 8 is negative 3. All right, now let's go to the negative 3. I'm going to fill that in. Negative 3, negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. Again, it's negative 3 times negative 3 gives you positive 9. 9. 4 times negative 3, negative 12, plus 1. Combine my positives. That gives me 1 and 9 is 10, minus 12, so minus 2. Look, it's starting to repeat. Okay, now I'm going to plug in this negative 4. Negative 4, negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is positive 16. 4 times negative 4 is going to be negative 16 plus 1. These two cancel out, and we're left with just 1. Hey, look at that. 3, negative 2, 1. 3, negative 2, 1. How much you want to bet the next number is going to be 6? All right. Negative 5 goes in here. Negative 5. Negative 5 goes in there. What is negative 5 squared? Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. 4 times negative 5 is going to be negative 20 plus 1. What is 25 minus 20? 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. And look at that. It totally repeats. And again, that's why they gave us these numbers, because the book knows that this is going to be the center of that equation. All right, let's graph it. All right, so we've got, I drew my thing bad. That's okay. We have 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so our first point is 1, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to put a dot at 1, 6. My next one is at 0, 1. 0, 1. My next one is at negative 1, negative 2. Negative, negative, negative 1, negative 2. Next one is at negative 2, negative 3. Negative 2, negative 3. Then we go back up. Negative 4, negative 2. Negative, oh, that's negative 3. Negative 3, negative 2. Negative 4, 1. Negative 5, 6. And there is your parabola. Okay, like I said, this section's a little bit more. It's just a lot of math. I mean, you're just doing PEMDAS. And this third column will really help to keep your signs straight. Okay, because I guarantee you'll make a mistake. You want to know a secret? I totally messed up. It happens, but that's why we do it this way. Okay? Yeah, best of luck. Come bug me at my open office sessions for drop-ins if you need help. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.